and welcome to Sibos 2018 in Sydney. I'm Hannah Wallace, and with me now is Jeslyn Tan, Global Head of Product Management Securities Services for Deutsche Bank, and we're talking about how new technologies can help improve the efficiency of trade settlement status and liquidity insights. Hello Jeslyn, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thanks Hannah for having me.
Fantastic. Now firstly, can you tell me what are the market dynamics that are driving security settlement?
Yeah. The market dynamics are generally categorized into two areas that I actually see. One very apparent one is definitely in the global regulatory changes, where, for example, regulators are looking at much more asset protection, data protection, risk reduction and settlement efficiencies. Example I can quote is, for example, MiFID II or CSDR that not only impacts clients in the European-based countries but also have an extraterritorial effect on the non-EU locations. There are also changes in the local market aspect. So for example, in the Asian countries, there is a lot of move to really shorten the entire settlement cycle. So we've seen countries that sort of shorten from a T+3 to a T+2 settlement cycle and increasingly looking at ways that can be shortened further, perhaps into T+0 or T+1, in which we have seen in certain markets as well. So the second area that we actually see is really changing client demands due to cost efficiencies, where they're actually facing fee pressure, margin compression, and so do us as a custodian. So they're looking for ways to actually improve costs much better, as well as product differentiators and product innovation, particularly with custody being such a commoditized product. But having said that, it really leads to much more collaboration between us as custodian with the client to get to a win-win situation. And over the course, there is really a much more increased need for technology solutions to come into play to connect both the organizations for us to offer a much better holistic integrated product solutioning.
All right, and how do these dynamics mean that the challenges and the problem statements are unique to each client?
The dynamic is actually quite common because it applies across the industry, but the impact is actually different depending on the client business model and how they apply it. Say as an example, a broker-dealer with a very high trade volume turnover in terms of a settlement penalty regimes will have a different impact and the consequence when they face changes as compared to an asset gatherer. So for example, the focus on settlement efficiencies and through the implementation of penalty regimes, the broker-dealers will actually face a much higher impact in that space, where they will want to look at ways to reduce the trade fail so that they will not have to pay the penalties. So for Deutsche Bank, we actually recommend the use of data analytics, where we actually collect large sets of settlement activity data and then apply analytical tools to it for us to gain insights into behavior, trends and patterns, and through it be able to identify possible challenges that the brokers may face and to give and recommend solutions for them to overcome such challenges, and then look at ways to improve the whole control governance process and really just optimize the entire settlement flows for them.
And finally, how is Deutsche Bank collaborating with clients to deliver insights and effective decision making, as well as deliver tangible benefits?
We're very pleased to sort of highlight two very tangible use cases that we've implemented this year, definitely in collaboration with our client. One is in the area of using chatbot and API technology to deliver instantaneous trade status back to our clients, where they're demanding for much more faster and timely query response to the trade status. So imagine if the trade is still unmatched when it's very, very close to settlement cutoff time, the end investor will be quite anxious, and we want to help them with a very timely response for them to then manage the entire settlement processing itself to prevent trade fails. This is actually done in conjunction with a very key client of ours, and definitely collaborating with them to introduce the chatbot within the Symphony messaging platform, where the two bots integrate with each other and we deliver seamlessly back to the end clients. Definitely looking at much more use cases, scale and replicating it, expanding the functionalities in the other locations. The second use case I can share is really unlocking the value of data, where we apply data analytics tools to provide insights. Part of it I've actually shared earlier. So one of the use cases is really in the area of intraday liquidity, where the insights from this tool will allow us to gain better data transparencies to provide the usage to the end clients for them to manage it better, optimize liquidity, as well as internally within Deutsche helps us with our treasury funding process to look at a much more optimal cost allocation and the funding allocation.
Jeslyn, this has been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
and thank you for watching.